Time for a new edition of Beyond the Arc here on High School Cube News. Brian Chimino back with you with Michael O'Brien of the Chicago Sun-Times. First week of games are in the books. Take a look at some of the results, starting with number 1, Stevenson Patriots, going 4-0 in their Thanksgiving tournament out at Lyons and Hinsdale Central. And they are the definition of hitting the ground running, Mike.
Yeah, they look pretty solid. You know, it was kind of funny, the game I went to against Lyons, they showed up late, which was, you know, kind of Morgan Park-ish for Stevenson. They ran into some bad traffic, but they came right out, didn't miss a beat. What was really impressive, and this is going to be a theme, it seems, all season, is a sophomore, Justin Smith. You know, he gives Stevenson a level of size and athleticism that they really need. And, you know, there was a lot of talk about about how he was a lot better this year and was going to add a lot to them, but he delivered. And that's going to be a really kind of extra X factor for them that they need.
At number 6, St. Joe's getting off on the right foot. Saturday, knocking off Plainfield East in the championship game for the St. Charles Thanksgiving tournament. That was an overtime win. St. Joe's undefeated, but we don't really know what to think of them quite yet.
Yeah, it was interesting. You know, I saw them play St. Charles East the Friday night before. Man, everybody got better. Especially, you know, Glenn Watson is one of the best guards in the state. Nick Rakosevic looked really good, and I was really impressed with Joffrey Brown, who's always kind of had the hype and the talent, but I thought he played out of control the last couple of years. This year, he just seemed a lot more dependable, a lot more stable. They have all the pieces. There's some chemistry issues there. There was some cross looks and some yelling going around. If they work that out, you know, they can win 3A. They're that good, but that's a lot to work out, and we're going to see how that goes.
This past Sunday, the Team Rose Classic up in Cicero took place, and for the second straight year, St. Rita and Curie going into overtime. This year, it was the Mustangs that came out on top, 53-51.
Yeah, I feel like this is a nice sign for St. Rita. Like maybe they're going to start to achieve some big things this year. This is a game that I don't think they would have won last year. They managed, you know, to hang on. Armani Chaney hit some big free throws. He was really solid throughout. The hype on him having improved so much over the summer seems to be correct. Kane Harris, you know, the Morgan Park transfer, still working his way in. He hit some very big shots for them. And Charles Matthews came up huge at the end. You know, only ended with, what, 13 or 15 points. Didn't have a real great first half, but he was there when they needed him. You know, he got to the basket, he got to the free throw line, and he really put the exclamation point on that victory for them.
And one of the cool things about the first week of games in the high school basketball season are you see kids that you didn't really hear about. And this first week, like you mentioned earlier with Justin Smith, produced a lot of sophomore performances.
Yeah, it seemed like everywhere I went, every day there was another sophomore scoring 20 or 30 points that I had never heard about before. I literally had to make a list. Well, the first one to talk about is Jeremiah Tillman, who people knew about. He plays for East St. Louis. They played Morton. He's 6'10", 6'11", strong kid. He is the best sophomore in the state. I think potential-wise for sure, and maybe production-wise right now, not many people can match him. And he's one we're going to hear a lot about over the next couple of years, even though he isn't a player from the area. So you got Jeremiah Tillman, the big man. Then for HF, Nick Perry is a guard. He's kind of a point guard, scoring guard type. He was phenomenal, had 23 against Thornwood. He's going to be a big name to watch this year. And then a total surprise for Hinsdale South, Amon Reynolds. He was just absolutely phenomenal. 32 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 steals for Hinsdale South against Sandburg. He carried it through for the rest of the tournament. He's going to be a real interesting player to watch the next couple of years. And one that we did know about was Nogel Eastern for Evanston, you know, really hyped, and he's living up to it. Had 26 points, 9 boards against Crete Moni at the Team Rose Classic. And that brings up another kind of unknown name. At Crete Moni, he's Derek Rose's nephew, Dwayne Rose. He is the son of Derek's older brother, Dwayne Rose. And he, you know, not a superstar level, not quite like some of these other, you know, guys I've mentioned, but he had 15 points, was really capable, and you can see the upside with him on a Crete team that looks like it's going to be pretty good this year, despite losing 2 this week. They had the nice win over Evanston. And then there's Craig Bodian for Foreman, totally out of the blue. Saw him play at Oswego. He's another guard, 21 points. He was able to score in a bunch of different ways. Good shooter, can get to the basket. And, you know, there's a few I didn't even mention. Every single game I went to, there was a sophomore starting and playing really well. That class is loaded. You know, it may not have a bunch of high-level talent. You know, it might not have 10 high-major guys, but it's going to have so many good players.
And even 1 week into the season, a bunch of changes in the Super 25. You can check out the entire list on highschoolcubenews.com, including a whole bunch of newbies.
You know, there are plenty of teams that lost this week, so we shoved in the teams that, you know, went 4-0, 3-0, and won their Thanksgiving tournaments. The top one was Hales, which won the Chicago Heights Classic. You know, that was a bunch of big wins for them. They're going to be a team to look out for this year. Also Notre Dame, you know, they have Joe Mooney, the really great shooter, and Amar Bakar, who's a 6'5", 6'4", undersized post that really knows how to play down there. They're a team to watch that could stick. Neuqua Valley was added, Plainfield North with high scorer Trevor Stump. He's one probably going to talk about a lot more. He's getting, seems like almost 30 a game on a regular basis. And then Lake Zurich, St. Viator, and Geneva. Geneva is really big. They got multiple guys, over 6'7", 6'8". The question for them is going to be the backcourt, if they can, have the guards to support those big men.
And that'll do it for this week's edition of Beyond the Arc here on High School Cube News. Check back later in the week. Beth Long is sticking with us through hoops, and she'll be talking with Stevenson guard Connor Cashaw, who's heading to Rice. And also check back later in the week as Mike and I preview some of the big matchups this weekend throughout the Chicagoland area. For Michael O'Brien, I'm Brian Chimino. We'll see you guys later.